alongside me, as always, is our festival director, Jay Minari. And we are joined by two guests today. First of all, we have Jon Altham, who is the composer for the film The Divisible, which is up for Best Film Score. And we also have the producer of the film, Nicole Starrett. So hello to you both. Thank you so much for joining us. A bit of
Oh, yeah.
info about Jon. He's an award-winning film composer and executive music director. His background is in music and to date has assisted with the development of production companies, artists and songwriters around the world, and is also the global head of Music Soundwave Studio. So hello to you both. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Our pleasure. So first of all, Jon, let me just check with you because, as I said, you're the global head of the Music Soundwave Studios, which was founded in 2018.
Yes.
All aspects of music production and administrative support for the music department. And you work with big and low budget productions. So like The Divisible, you composed the Lance Dance soundtrack.
Yes.
Tell us about how the collaboration with Marcus Thomas, the director, sort of came about.
Oh, it's an interesting one. I think, to be fair, it was through IMDb, which is, it was nice. So I think I actually contacted them directly. I read the synopsis on IMDb, really piqued my interest, and then it just kind of went from there. The more we kind of talked about the project, I then received the script and took it from there, and that's really how it started. Really, it was kind of quite innocent, just kind of ringing up and seeing how, what their needs were, and it turned out to be really, really great.
Perfect. And Nicole, what was it like for you working with a composer like Jon?
Oh, so joyful and professional and expansive. Jon is just a consummate professional, and Marcus and I call him Boy Wonder, but because he's young, but so incredibly, his range is vast. It's been a beautiful partnership that, our whole production company is centered around social justice themes, and working with Jon, he just got that and was able to apply his skill set from the very beginning. And The Last Dance is such a marvelous piece of music. I mean, it's really lovely. So we feel very fortunate.
Yeah, and perfect. Can you tell our audience maybe a bit about The Divisible and how the Last Dance soundtrack fits in with it?
So, The Divisible, actually, it's crazy that Chadwick Boseman, the star of Black Panther, just passed away because it was after seeing Black Panther that we conceived of a film about an interracial couple and their biracial son, and what would happen if the United States was resegregated. That kind of a nightmare that we've sort of been seeing come more and more true, unfortunately, in the 2.5 years since we conceived of it. But working with Jon, we really wanted the film to say the core of the message is love in the middle of all this fear and terror and division. And Jon really picked up on that right away. And he said, I think I know just the thing. I have a piano line and like a song that was really close to his heart. But I'll let you tell them about that, Jon. But we were just immediately like, our jaws were on the floor. We're like, this is so perfect and amazing. And the fact that he was willing to share it with us was really moved us very deeply.
Right. Yeah, it's a very kind of personal track. Is The Last Dance. It's kind of a combination of two. Inspiration, firstly, from the social kind of justice themes, what was going on, trying to almost picture myself in that scenario and feel for the characters. But it was also based very, very closely on a track that I wrote probably about 2-3 years ago now, called A Song for You, which is actually really just a piano piece, pure piano. And it was just one of those that every single time I tend to play it, it's just a very, very emotional track. So it was bringing that element into this, and I'm really, really happy with the result. We combined that with then the strings, because that then complemented the soundtrack and the characters later on. And it's just a really heartfelt song about two characters who, effectively, it's their last time together. You don't know what's going to happen to them, and it's the last time that things are slightly normal. and it's a love theme, but with grief at the same time. But with all of this going on, it's the fact that it's, well, what's going to happen next? We really don't know, and we're really feeling for these characters, and it's a real heartbreaking moment. So it's trying to combine all of those elements together.
Since we have the producer here, I would like to know how, first of all, your collaboration with the director went, and how the production was structured. How long did it take, and how long post-production take?
Those are great questions. Yeah, so our actual shoot was 5 days, I think, and that was 12, 14-hour days. They were jam-packed. We had I think 36,000 is what we ended up raising after fundraising campaign fees. Was all crowdfunded. And Marcus and I met because we worked together as actors on a comedic web series, and we became friends. And he had been a photographer and, working professionally as an actor and photographer for, I think, I wish he was here to tell you the exact number of years, but many, many years. And he came to me after we had seen this film together, after we saw Black Panther together. And he said, I had this vision of a story about a family, and it sort of came through me. And he said to me, it came through him onto the page. And he said, would you be willing, I know you produced before, would you be willing to go in and make this film together? I went, because we wanted to work together. And then from that, we started our production company, and we just really have a good chemistry. And we have the same mission, I think, of art changes people's minds, especially films. And so we saw that as a real opportunity to galvanize people who may feel apathetic, to get them out to vote. And that has been the purpose of this project. We're releasing it on September 1st on YouTube so that it can go out to the broadest possible audience to get out the vote. And that's the point of the film.
Amazing. And we can also have the film, streamed on our platform during these days. And we don't know yet, we cannot say yet, but if you know the winners, it can also be streamed on our festival platform partners, which is Festival Emergence, and it will be streamed until the 7th of September. So,
cool.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And Jon, when Nicole was saying about how Marcus said about he's seen Black Panther and he's got that sort of reference, did the guys give you any references for when you wrote the music? Any references in particular?
Yeah, there were some. However, a lot of it was, I was very fortunate in the sense that they really kind of trusted my creative vision right from the start. Although it was a very, very close collaboration between all of us creatively, they really did kind of step back and let me interpret my feelings towards it, and what was going on between the characters. Initially I wrote a main theme based off a couple of ideas and maybe a couple of reference tracks that were close to kind of my heart in the past. One of them being by the composer Ennio Morricone, but I absolutely love his music. Yeah, but really, a lot of it was kind of my kind of intuition and an understanding of the script, and then bringing that back to both Nicole and Marcus, and just sitting down with them and saying, how is this relating to your themes and your characters? Really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of understanding the lives of the characters more than anything, and how they kind of are portrayed through multiple scenes throughout the film. And it's that kind of then brought it and glued it all together.
Fantastic. And that must be really good for you as a composer as well, to have those sorts of free range to begin with, to create your own music to what you interpret it as. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it can go two ways. Sometimes it can be very, sometimes it can be daunting, and you can kind of sit back and you're like, I haven't a clue what to do, because you've got no reference at all. And then other times, it can be the other extreme where, someone might have an absolute love for the temp track, and that's equally challenging, because you've got to write something which is almost similar, and something that they might have listened to for maybe months on end before you've even got on board. So it can be difficult, but in this scenario I was very, very fortunate to have such a collaborative team, and to be honest, that's how it's all come together right from the start. They're very, very supportive.
Fantastic. And Nicole, that must be good for you as well, to be able to trust Jon to write the best music you can for this script.
Yeah, trust is an understatement for how we feel about Jon. He just really, I'm at a loss for words, which is kind of unusual, but really my respect for Jon's talent, and also like willingness to be open to collaborate. And in places he's willing to say, like, this is my first time trying to write in this way, or like, hey, like, there are 10 tracks that we did fall in love with. And I think that's always a challenge for a composer. But, he's extremely versatile, and that he'll rise to meet that challenge every time and be super open in communicating it. So, yeah. And, Marcus and I both come from musical backgrounds as well. So it's the way we listen to things, we all have sort of like a commonality of language that we're able to speak to each other. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Fantastic. And Jon, can you tell us, so you told us about how sort of what you thought about when you were writing the soundtrack, but was there anything in the music that actually emphasized the message?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the way it was kind of formatted, was you've got the score, which is kind of complementary to the film, and the different scenes and the characters, but it was also the soundtrack, which has come off separate, which actually for a short film is very, very rare, to do kind of a soundtrack album off the back of it. And the reason for that was to extend these character themes out. So right at the start, you've got a track called In This World, which actually features Marcus, vocally. And what's so special about this is that it's, this theme between, him and Tyler, which is played by Matteo. And it's a really, really beautiful kind of, almost like a lullaby, which is kind of settles them when they're so kind of upset and distressed, and that kind of like really paints the picture at the start. And then you've got Thomas and Esme's theme, which is like this love theme, but then that comes into The Last Dance later on, which is this very wide orchestral.
Hello? Oh, we have Marcus on screen. I think we might have the composer, but we have the director. So welcome, director.
Hello, Marcus.
I can make the stream if Jon wants to be on. I'm totally cool with that. So
sure. I think we can host a maximum of 4 people per session. So I think the minute I log Jon in, I need to have some Nicole out for this one.
Totally fine.
Amazing.
Lovely speaking to you.
Meeting you.
Thank
and
you so
I
much
really
for chatting to us, Nicole.
Yes, please continue to do such great work.
Yes, thanks for holding down the fort, Nikki.
Bye.
Yep. Congrats. Bye.
Cheers, Nicole.
Okie dokie. We have, sorry, people at home, we are having a few
more streaming issues, but I think we're on top of it now.
So to reset, we have the director, Marcus Thomas, who just joined in. We have to say goodbye to the producer for now. And sorry, Jon, for the abrupt interruption. If you can start from where you were, we will be very glad to continue to listen to you. I think Jon might be a bit frozen. Oh, no, give it a second. I think it's going to work out.
Yeah, you might just
anyway,
reset it.
Welcome on board. And
hi, thank you.
We have been talking, I don't know if you had any chance to hear before you were logging in the show stream, but we covered about the production, the length of the production, the collaboration between, we were asking Jon the collaboration with you, and in a way, I know it worked out remotely. So it will be interesting to hear from you your collaboration with Jon as well. If we can see, Jon, can you hear us and can you see us again?
Yeah, sorry about that. The connection went.
No worries at all.
No worries. You want to finish what you were saying?
Oh, yeah. Go on. It was just effectively the soundtrack element of it as you were going through, the different tracks, particularly when you get into the last dance. That's then bringing in, like I said before, where these two characters may not ever see each other again, and it's their last time. It's a really, really tender moment, and then later on, which is really becomes like the main theme for the film is "United We Stand, Divided We Fall." And it's kind of like this kind of heroic uproar of motivating people to go out and vote and do something very, very impactful against, such a terrible regime which is happening, throughout the film. But at the same time, it's bringing in that war-torn element and almost like a war feel, as like saying, okay, well, this is enough. We're going to stand up against this. And if we come together, hopefully we can make a real change and make a difference and hopefully improve, our lives with what goes on in the film. So it really takes you on a an arc of multiple different emotions really throughout the film. It's it's a really interesting one.
Fantastic. And just going over to Marcus now. So as Jay asked earlier, what was the sort of start of the collaboration with yourself and Jon?
Yeah, so it was very interesting since, of course, as you were saying, we were working remotely, being that we're here in the States and you're over in the UK, Jon. But I couldn't have imagined how well it was going to work. Jon made it seamless pretty much. What it was literally any kind of notes, anything we would give him, he'd come back immediately he used YouTube at the time to create a playlist, and he would actually pair it with the scene so we could see exactly how things were going to play out. It was phenomenal. So it was, I didn't even notice a difference really. And of course, this being my first project, he made it seamless and easy for me to kind of work alongside him and myself and Nikki.
Fantastic. I think we might have lost Jon. I don't know if you can still see or hear us, but hopefully he'll come back into the live stream. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So no worries with that. So we spoke to Nicole about the collaborations with Jon, and she said he's one of the best people to work with. Am I safe in saying that you're going to agree with that statement?
Oh, completely. I've been referring to Jon as a prodigy. It's phenomenal the amount of work that he was able to put together in what seems like such a short amount of time. He put together a full 15-song soundtrack for us, or score. That is, it gives me chills. It gives me goosebumps every time I listen to it still today. I am indebted and so grateful to have been able to work with this man.
Fantastic.
And we actually are working together on our next project too.
Great.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about the next project?
Yeah, so the next project is a film that my co-creator, Nikki, had been working on for the past 10 years. It was based off of a short story that she won several awards for. And it's kind of a revenge thriller piece. And we've turned it into an animation piece, actually. And Jon has hopped on board. It's got Bosnian undertones. It's basically a revenge piece. It's what happens when a mother is killed and her daughter wants to pursue revenge, and she's a Bosnian American Muslim cop. Yeah.
Very in depth. So again, very serious and sounds.
I was about to ask Marcus about the film references that you gave to Jon, like film music references that, in a way, were the ones you trusted that could inspire Jon to make the music for your film. I know you mentioned Morricone because he loves him, but what did you first, had in mind, and how did in a way, Jon help you improve the vision of which music is actually the best one for my film?
Yeah, it's actually, I think we didn't have a specific reference going through this, but I think it was influenced by kind of the themes that we were talking about going with. We wanted to kind of reflect kind of Americana. We wanted to reflect kind of the Native American theme as well, since that is the true indigenous people of this country. And then that kind of tied it into sounding a little more like a Dances with Wolves type of sound, but like these epic kind of sounds. But then we wanted to kind of knock it back a little bit to make it still feel somewhat like an indie film versus like an epic, grand, Titanic or Dances with Wolves, that kind of a film.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
And John, let me quickly ask, because I know we're struggling a bit for time, but let me just ask you. So you've got this new project with Marcus that's in the pipeline. Is there anything else that's that might be in the works for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, with Soundwave Studios, we're crazy busy with productions. Sabina, which is this animation, is going to be, a wonderful project to be a part of. We've also got some other ones, which is called North Star. That's actually another short, and that's starring Kevin Bacon and Laura Hines as well. That will be a really interesting project. It's more like a bit like a kind of almost like a Western kind of ranch feel. Kind of a social piece as well. Really, really interesting. And then with Soundwave Studios, we're now overseeing, I think it's 130 productions we've got under our belt now. So that they will come out over the next 10 years that we'll be overseeing the music for. So I'm kind of, I was saying this to Marcus, I'm trying to, pick a few projects to kind of still keep writing on, but a lot of it, so I'm taking a back seat for a while and kind of heading up the kind of music department and being more of a music director. And then that project came along for Sabina. I was like, yeah, I'm down. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I'm in with that. So yeah, there's quite a lot on the pipeline, which is exciting.
Brilliant, fantastic.
Amazing.
Well, guys, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Marcus, thank you for joining us. John,
thank you.
Nicole, thank you for joining us if you're still watching. To the audience at home, make sure you go onto our website to check out John's work, and make sure you tune in for tomorrow, the award ceremony, as The Divisible is up for Best Film Score. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
And
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Take care.
See you tomorrow at 6:30. Stay connected and join us for the award ceremony. We really look much forward to have you there.
I will do. I'm looking forward to it.
Bye. Bye for now.